In case you've watched a few videos on this channel and now you're wondering what happened to me, that's the main reason for this video. I need to give a brief explanation. You can skip ahead to this and hear that explanation. But first, along with that, I want to explain who I am and what I am and why I am. Let me start by letting you know who I'm talking to. Being homosexual, being gay, lesbian, transgender, asexual, intersex is not a sin. In no way is sin. And I want to say that. I've been a Christian for 23 years and I am 63 now. Let me start by explaining what's going on here. Now, if this is the last, like I said, this is the last video on this channel, you're going to want to look through those other videos. And if you have any interest in that, you want to look at Romans 1, where Paul is talking about men sleeping with men and even women doing things that are unnatural and God giving them their due punishment for that. You want to know that scholars say that what Paul was doing in Romans when he was talking about sex, okay, was not copying what was in Leviticus chapters 18 and 20, but interpreting what he read in Leviticus chapters 18 and 20. Paul was alive back then. Paul was a Christian. Paul knew what these verses meant. And Paul, you want to look at the King James Version and realize that what it says in Romans chapter 1, verse 26 through 27, I think, is that men and women had abandoned their normal use for the opposite sex. Okay. And you think about the normal use. All right, that's what it's talking about. It's not talking about falling in love with the same sex, the same gender. It's not talking about that. It's talking about using the same sex and same gender. It's something different. Okay. And what happens in the present is not gay sex. Okay. It may be same sex. Okay. It has nothing to do with men falling in love with men or women falling in love with women. And people will tell you that when it mentions women in Romans chapter 1, it's talking about women being gay. Okay. Clearly, it's not. Okay. Look back in Leviticus 18 and 20, chapters 18 and 20, and realize that what Paul was interpreting was, yes, men sleeping with men and women sleeping with animals. Nothing at all to do with women being gay. The Bible doesn't say anything about women being gay, and you've heard that. No surprise there. All right, it's right there in the next verses in chapters 18 and in chapters 20. It's talking about men having sex with men and women having sex with animals. When Paul's talking about men and women abandoning their normal use of the opposite sex in Romans, it's talking about men having sex with men and women having sex with animals. Okay, in the verses that appear to talk about gay sex in Romans 1 for men and women, you should be able to see by now from that explanation alone that it's not talking about gay sex. Now, there are a lot of other verses about Jesus talking about things that he was concerned about, and you'll find those. It's difficult to find the connection between Romans 1 and Leviticus 18 and Leviticus 20. Look for it, and you'll have what you want. Now, let's talk about me. How is it that a Christian believes this? How is it, in fact, that I was a Christian? I ever became a Christian at all? Very briefly, when I was a child, it started when I was 4 until I was 12. My dad had kind of lost his mind. Okay, he had some mental issues due to an accident, and he lost his mind. He became very associated with the church and fell in with the spare the rod and spoil the child crowd. When the church told him that you're doing a great job with those kids, with his two sons and his daughter, he took that to mean the way you were raising them with a belt is great and it's really good. And he took that as best praise. And he went home and beat us again. I don't actually remember ever being beaten, told that I was beaten by my sister, but I don't remember it. And my mother and my father, who apologized to me for being so hard on me. What I remember was hearing my brother and sister and watching them being punished. That was hard. And I was 4 when it started. And as a result, I developed complex PTSD. That's PTSD that doesn't go away. It's not due to an accident or a trauma in a wartime. It's due to something that happened in your childhood, and it stays forever. My psychiatrist tells me that's why I am so sick. My chronic my chronic stress, okay, due to that complex PTSD. That's why I have that's why I have epilepsy. That's why I have, well, probably not why I have epilepsy. I just have epilepsy. But that's why I have asthma. That's why I have AFib. It's why I have had strokes. That's why the strokes have been able to cause central sleep apnea, which is a real beaut if you want to look central sleep apnea. That's why I was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease due to the damage in my brain from the stroke. That's why I have a number of different things, possibly the cancer that's killing me now, taking me now. Nonetheless, I can't. I had good reason to not have anything to do with the church, and real good reason to not have anything to do with the church. But I can't deny the fact that when I was 40, when I began to believe that Jesus was resurrected, I can't deny that, as the Bible said I would, I was one way and then I was different. My life changed. I became a different person at the age of 40 in a snap, just like that. And I've been different since I was 23. That left me to not being able to deny that. That's reality. Okay. That left me to figure out what to do with homosexuality and my friends, to do with hell. I've already told you about homosexuality. Let me tell you about hell. Okay, because often you will hear people say you have to be hard on homosexuals, on gay people, on transgender people. If you want to love them, you don't. When Jesus said, if you don't believe and you die, you're going to die. You're not going to live forever. He means you're going to die. That doesn't mean, look it up, Google it. That doesn't mean that you're going to be tormented in the lake of fire forever, alive. It does say that some people will be tormented in the lake of fire alive. It doesn't say you will be tormented in the lake of fire alive because you don't believe. Jesus said, if you don't believe, when you die and you're dead. And that's what people generally who don't believe think. They expect to die. So it seems that they are right. All right. Now this is a clear thing about the Bible. And you should be able to take the misconception of hell from the Bible and see that there are other misconceptions in the Bible. Now, I am a Christian. I believe in resurrection. I believe, I believe, and I became different. And that is that. It is what it is. And I can't deny it. Now it's time for the health update. I am, if you have watched my videos for a few years, you what you see is somebody who was 221 pounds a little over a year ago, and now I am, as of 2 days ago, I am 159 pounds. That kind of weight loss comes from cancer frequently. And I have cancer. I developed esophageal cancer. I was diagnosed with esophageal cancer 6 months ago, beginning of October, and it is the beginning of April 2026 now. 6 months is pretty good. All right. As of now, the esophageal cancer, the tumor in my esophagus has shrunk, so I'm able to eat, and that's a real blessing. The cancer metastasized to my liver. I have more than 30 tumors, malignant tumors in my liver. One of the tumors is growing through the liver wall now. In my abdominal cavity, the guy who analyzed the CT scan said that the tumors that are throughout my abdomen, from the front of my abdomen wall back to my spine, throughout my abdomen, are those tumors are innumerable. They can't be counted. There are too many to count. There should be, and he said there should be no mistake. These are malignant tumors. These are not benign tumors and should not be mistaken for cysts. I have malignant tumors. If they can count up to 30 in my liver, I think they could probably count up to 30 in my abdomen, but there are too many to count in my abdomen. I likely have dozens and dozens of malignant tumors throughout my body. And as of a couple of weeks ago, it looks as if I also have tumors in my lungs and in my spleen. It is what it is. I don't expect to live much longer, but I hope to live longer. Today is the first time I have had the energy to make another video. I needed to make this video just so I could explain this. My health. I needed to make this video, and now I am making it. I'm making it because I have the energy today, and I may never have the energy again. I know now what it's like to go through the indignities and the pain and the suffering of chemotherapy and radiation therapy. Radiation therapy did a lot of good. The chemotherapy and the immunotherapy has done very little good so far. What you need to know is if you have cancer, you see a lot of people who are in really bad shape. It's only because they don't have much energy. I see them in the waiting rooms of the cancer clinic and clinics, and they're just it's hard. It's hard for them to hold themselves up. It's often because I can tell you because they're not eating. They have no appetite. I have no appetite. It's possibly due to the cancer. No surprise. Could be due to chemotherapy. Again, no surprise. But I have no appetite. I haven't been hungry or thirsty in months. But I eat a lot. I eat like a horse. I can still, because my esophagus is open, the tumor has not gone away, but it has shrunk enough for me to eat and drink water. I can still enjoy the refreshness of water, and I can enjoy how good food tastes. It tastes a little different due to some chemotherapy. The immunotherapy was the hardest. It tastes a little different, but it's still good. And like I said, I eat like a horse. And the more I eat, the more energy I have. The less I eat, generally because I'm not hungry, the less energy I have. And then I feel sometimes like I'm going to die. And I feel like I am dying. Today I have eaten quite a bit, and I have a lot of energy. To make the situation worse, I got pneumonia a couple of weeks ago, and probably aspired. Aspirational pneumonia is what I have. I probably aspired. I took some food or too much water into my lungs, and it went down to my lower right lung and caused pneumonia. It caused an infection and actually collapsed part of my lung for a while, but the lungs opened back up. But the pneumonia hasn't gone away. I'm at a point where I can't do the chemotherapy. I can't afford to catch an infection, and and I did. I have pneumonia, and I'm having trouble running out of breath a lot. It would make you wonder why do I stay on the chemotherapy when I have pneumonia that the antibiotics are having trouble fighting? It's because the chemotherapy that I just recently went on 3 weeks ago, 2 to 3 weeks ago, seems to be working. The pain that this type of cancer, this type of spread of cancer causes has gone away and gone away. And the hope is that it is due to the current type of chemotherapy working. I hope so, and I hope that we can start to gain some semblance of control over this cancer, and and that I can live for a while. Cancer could become a chronic thing, okay, such that you're never going to get over it. It's like arthritis. You're not going to get over it. Asthma, you're not going to get over it. Allergies, you're not going to get over it. Chronic cancer, you're not going to get over. But you can live with it. You can live with it on cancer treatment, which I can't imagine. It's a real bitch. I'll kid you not. But if I can eat, I can have energy. If we can gain control of this cancer, control of it, not cure it. You got to cure it. To cure it, you got to catch it early, and I've had it for possibly 5 years. We didn't catch it early, and but you can gain control of it. If you can gain control of it, you can live long enough for treatments to be developed. I can gain even better control over it. I could live for years, or I could live for weeks or days. If it's a pneumonia, if I can't get over the pneumonia, if I can't get past the pneumonia, that alone is going to kill me. If if this is the last video you ever find, if this is the last video you are able to find on this channel, it's probably the cancer. It probably got me. I hope it's not the last video. For the sake of, I'm not gay. I am a Christian, but I'm not gay. But for the sake of gay people, transgender people, people who live with the bigotry that is caused by the Bible, for them and my family, my wife and my family, I hope to live for years. But if I didn't, it's been a pleasure. Take care.